Still Seneca, still letter 18. But the last paragraph, I still don't understand. It says, not till you've settled your account. Like it's like Seneca's making some kind of a payment by going into another topic. I don't understand exactly what's going on there, but that's not important. So Seneca quotes Epicurus. Epicureanism was a rival philosophy to Stoicism, but Seneca was certainly willing to listen to the other side. That doesn't seem to happen that much these days, but he's willing to read Epicurus to understand Epicurus, and he was willing to pull out some like, yeah, this is a legitimately good idea from Epicurus. Um, and this quote is, anger carried to excess begets madness. I feel like this is the plot of a lot of Batman villains. Not Joker. His motivation was never anger. Um, but, well, maybe not never. I don't know. I haven't, there's a bajillion Batman comics out there. Um, but at any rate, that was definitely the plot to Moby Dick, which is one of those things I'd like to read, but it's like that thick. But the basic plot I always thought was pretty interesting about Captain Ahab, who was angry. Anger is not quite the right word. It's beyond anger. It's he's single minded on getting revenge. Um, but there's a few things about this that I thought were pretty interesting. Uh, the factor for anger, uh, the factor of anger, I guess, but what do you mean by factor? The critical element, I guess, the most impactful part that makes anger impactful, I guess. The factor for that, the factor that counts is not the importance of the cause from which it springs, but the kind of personality it lands in. In the same way as with fire, what matters is not the fierceness of the flame, but where it catches. Battery's about to die. Um, so anger is to be avoided, and this is the part that I thought this is the last sentence. Anger is to be avoided not for the sake of moderation, but for the sake of sanity. And there's some, I think it's from Buddhism actually. I never followed Buddhism. I know very little about it, but there is something that, and I assuming the saying is even really is from Buddhism. But it's true nonetheless about how anger is so, holding a grudge is like, I'm not sure if I think it's saying quite right. Holding a grudge is something like burning your hand and expecting the other person to feel pain. I don't think that's how the saying goes. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's something to that effect. Um, and that leads me directly into bitterness. Anger and bitterness is not quite the same thing, but bitterness is so corrosive to the soul. It's cancer of the soul. I say this as someone that struggles with bitterness in a lot of cases. That's why I know that, honestly. But holding on to these things, it's there's a desire for, if someone has wronged you, there's such a strong desire to see what you think of as justice being meted out, and one, it's almost always out of proportion, and two, it really does a lot more damage to you. Now, the solution is not always easy. I think of in the Bible, God says, "Vengeance is mine; I will repay." So you have to leave it up to Him. That's easier said than done a lot of times. I'm also reminded of, if you're familiar with Neil Gaiman's comic book series, The Sandman. He became very angry at the main character became very angry at a woman. It's been over 10 years since I've read this, so I don't remember the details. And then he made sure to cast her into hell. But it was very, very unjust because she didn't deserve what he had done to her. But I shouldn't have even used that example since I don't remember the details. That's beyond the point. Anyway, um, yeah. So Anger is to be avoided not for the sake of moderation, but for the sake of sanity. It will, anger will destroy you.